Hello, and welcome to No Place Like Home with Mike and Megan Norp, where we believe the center of the universe is your home, and our home, and every other home on the planet. On this podcast, we talk about anything related to that. Homeschooling, parenting, home decorating, gardening, really anything, as long as it has to do with being home.
All right. Hey, Megan.
Hey, Mike.
Why do we act like we just sat down to talk or something like that? Like we
I
haven't
haven't
seen
seen
each
you in
other all day. Well, here we are. Once again.
Here we are. If you're new around here, we are Mike and Megan Norp. I just said that, but
You did.
we record our podcast from home because there's no place like home.
Which is why you're hearing doors slam in the background.
And we have 9 children. And so lots of doors get slammed.
Yes.
And
Again. Another one.
we are recording this from our library. We like to call it our library because it makes it seem fancy.
It's just the front room of our house.
Yeah.
The living room, maybe? I don't know what you call this room.
The doors are getting a little excessive.
What is going on?
But you can,
We need
if
some
you're
WD-40
listening to
on
this,
on these hinges.
if you're listening to this on, wherever you listen to podcasts, we wanted to let you know that you can also watch it on YouTube, and you can follow the link in the description.
Yeah.
Or just go on to YouTube and punch in No Place Like Home podcast, and you will be able to find us.
We hope so, at least.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's not too many No Place Like Home podcasts out there to get confused with.
Yeah, maybe. And also, if you weren't aware, we also have just a YouTube channel about our family called Norp and South.
Right. And if you're watching this on the YouTubes, you can also listen anywhere you get your podcast. So
Yep.
you got lots of options.
So many options.
Yeah. It's
So you
pretty
can
crazy.
be doing the dishes or out for a drive or whatever, and
Wow.
take us along.
Technology. It's cool.
Oh, so how has your day been going?
It's good so far. So far, so good.
What are you saying? Like, you got to qualify that because it might actually.
Oh, that's what I always say. I guess I'm sort of a pessimist. I'm a half glass, half empty type guy, I guess. Because whenever someone asks me that, I'm like, yeah, it's good so far. Because things could go wrong still.
Any moment,
Who
they could all
knows?
fall apart.
But up
Would
to
you
this
actually
point,
say that you're a pessimist?
I think I skew in that direction.
What does that mean?
I mean, I tend to see things from a negative standpoint, or can slip into that pretty easily.
I think I don't know that you're negative. I think you're more of like a other shoes gonna drop kind of guy. Is that negative?
Like, if it is going, I think that would be
Like,
considered
things are
negative.
going well, but
I know,
I don't
but
know.
it could fall
any
apart
moment
at any moment.
now. Yeah.
And yeah, I do tend to, but I think I've gotten better because I think you're a little more optimistic.
Mm.
And so over the years, you've helped me to get more optimism in my life, which is what I'm really going for.
Romantic.
I know, it's great. So yes, so far it's been a great day. But like I said,
Well, I think
who
it's
knows?
going to be a great day
I can
because
still
it's
choke on my dinner and
it's
die.
date night tonight. So, I mean, it's going to be a great that we're going to finish this out strong.
You're
buddy.
right. It is kind of nice. We get to go out and be on our own.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. You get to go out and it's like,
I don't
Go
know what
to
we're
the
we know we're
store.
gonna go to dinner. So
Yeah, we always know
we do a
that.
date night every week, and this is important for us. But it's not always, or rarely, really, is it ever like a super like amazing, as in like lots of fun activities going on. It's usually just dinner, and then driving around.
yeah. We're
And
often doing a double
whatnot.
date with my brother and his wife. And so lots of talking, just the ability to talk.
And get away from all the sounds of slamming doors and that sort of thing. That's what we're really trying to do. That
Starting
is
to feel like an episode of Clue or something,
that
the,
is
the movie. where-
Someone's gonna scream off camera.
Oh, no, I just think it's nice to have uninterrupted talking time with other adults. That's really what's nice on date
That's
night.
true.
Because if we're at home, I love it when one of our older kids is in the bedroom with us talking, because they see how often like our sentences get interrupted. Like somebody knocks and like, can I ask you this? And then, or just like come in and stare at us and we're like, what's up? They're like, I don't know.
Yep.
It's like, well, we're trying to talk about something right now, or trying to do this thing, but it's great. We're complaining, but it's
Always.
also something that we love. And even before you came home from work, I was homeschooling because
That's true.
I want my kids around. I like the busyness. I like the craziness. And I guess in a way, not even in a way, I do like the noise. I don't really like a quiet house.
Yeah.
And someday I think I'll be sad about that. And so I'll have to go get a cockatoo.
That is going to be the next step.
That is my plan. Once the kids are all out of the house and it's quiet, I'm going to get a cockatoo because they say they're kind of crazy loud that you can hear them like all the way down the block.
Yeah, you're going to have some complaining neighbors. Hopefully there's no HOA when we're older like that because we'll get in trouble for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we get in trouble right now from the HOA all the time. So if I could only show you the emails from
we
our
are
HOA
not
that we
HOA
get.
people. And yeah, thankfully our house that we own and will be renovating in the coming months. That's always, we should just like, that's our tagline.
I kind of,
They're like in the coming months.
I'm just thinking like, I wish I would have saved. We did get an email once from the HOA because someone reported Asher. He was out on this like sort of shared space, common area. And it's a picture of him. And it's almost like one of those Sasquatch pictures where like they're walking, you know, like a profile.
Like blurry.
And he's holding a machete in his hand. And and the complaint was that that he was chopping down a tree or like chopping off branches. I don't remember what it was.
He said he was hacking at dead branches.
Oh, right. And I guess that's against the rules.
I think their concern was less about the branches and more about the machete. You know, that was a little alarming for them. But not for us.
Well, and when we got the email, I'm always alarmed. I don't like getting in trouble. I'm very much averse to being in trouble for anything. But part of me was like, someday this will be funny. And I need to go back and keep that picture of Asher. Because what happened is one of the neighbors.
That wasn't even in our neighborhood.
I'm not going to point any fingers. Took a picture of Asher like from their porch. And they're the ones who actually reported it. And she's the one who took that picture. And so it's like, it's kind of a funny moment where Asher's out there just hacking away or doing something. But he looks like he's up to no good because he has this huge blade in his hand.
Okay.
Which is, I guess scary for someone to see.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I don't think one of the chapter titles in How to Win Friends and Influence People, though, is to take photos of them and turn them into the HOA.
It's true.
I don't think that's the way to win friends.
But maybe one of the chapters also says, don't let your kids loose with machetes in the neighborhood.
Yes, or just like carrying a machete aggressively in common areas and neighborhoods is also not how to win friends. It might help in influencing people, though.
That's true, but in what direction?
Yeah. And I guess it influenced us when she took the photo, so because he can't play with his machete out there anymore. We told him he can't go out there anymore to that area, but he does also look like your classic homeschool kid. Kind of get dressed a little bit goofy with a machete in his hand. So we're living up to the expectation when it comes down to it. Because they all know they probably know we homeschool because the kids are always around. Well, I feel like all of the other houses on the street are very buttoned up, and ours is always like, it feels like children are just falling out of it. Bikes, they are. Children, like they're like, cats, it seems like
rabbits.
There's not as many kids outside anymore. And I don't know if it's just because the house is not big enough for us, so our kids are outside because we just fall out.
Because the house isn't.
Yeah, I mean, since there's 11 of us in this house, like maybe when you only have a few kids and you've got the same size house as us, it's maybe you stay inside more. But
it's true.
It does feel a little bit like everybody is very aware of everything that's always going on in our life because
we can't hide it.
No, we can't.
They're so aware. They're taking pictures of us doing it.
I know.
Even when we think we're in our backyard in our own privacy.
Yeah.
Also at night, I've noticed our house is all lit up and everyone else's house is all dark.
That's strange to me, but I guess it's because once again we're using all the rooms in our house
and all the electricity.
Well, yes, but I mean, like we can't shut down parts of the house. We need it all the time.
I know.
And so other people, they're not using the front of their house often, like their dining room and their formal. But like we eat in our dining room because the kitchen isn't big enough to eat in, and so our house is always lit up, and our kids do have a problem with not turning off lights.
I know.
It's like, I haven't really been on top of that as a parent.
Teaching them
that when you leave a room, you turn the light off.
I know.
But the great thing about the recession is I'm definitely going to get better at that.
Because you won't be able to pay your electric bill? Yeah.
Oh, the cost of energy, that whole funny thing.
Well, but it makes it does make for a funner house though. And it's another, to me, it's kind of a plug for big families because they're pretty fun and
definitely
keeps things interesting. And like we said, not quiet. So
yeah, it's a rich home life. I like it.
Well, and when you homeschool too, it just never...
It never stops.
Well, and it does. There's quiet moments. It's not like it's always. It's kind of quiet right now, actually. But it's fun to have a big family. But listen, I heard the door open. he closed it quietly.
Yeah.
We really do have squeaky hinges. We got to take care of that.
Yeah.
So Megan, how's your day going then? I mean, we talked about mine and my half empty day. Is yours half full or half empty? What is it?
It's going very well. Part of that is I always have to go for my walk. I like to kid myself that I don't need to, but I do. And so I'm pretty good about going on that. But I also, today I wore my The Future is Family t-shirt.
Right.
And it's like an interesting social experiment to wear t-shirts that have messages on them, no matter what the message is. If you wear something that's got a message and then you go for a walk, and I was out there for an hour and a half. So I'm on like a public walking trail. So I'm encountering a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the way it's written, it's very clear on my shirt.
Yes.
It says The Future is Family in big black letters.
It actually says those words.
Yeah, because, and for me, it was a response to The Future is Female t-shirt.
Yeah, people asked us that, I think, once upon a time.
Yeah. And so I was wearing it today, and I've worn it before, but today I was just watching people's reaction to it, and it was interesting.
Were you running up to them and saying, "What's your reaction to this?"
What do you think about my shirt? Huh? What?
Shove a microphone in their face?
Yeah. No, I guess it gave me a lot of food for thought, and I noticed that there were a few individuals, and it was usually young girls.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like probably in their 20s.
Okay.
Who refused to say hello to me this morning on my walk.
Are you sure that's why they're not saying hello to you?
I know. Of course I'm not sure.
Okay.
I just found that interesting, and I wondered if it had to do with my t-shirt. Because I think right now there's a lot of stuff that, because they may be aware of The Future is Female.
Right.
And that is kind of a trendy topic among their age group, especially. And maybe they don't like that I'm saying The Future is Family. I also think when you're that age, you might look at the family and feel like it's a prison sentence.
Okay.
I remember when I was in high school being like, I have to be a mom. Like, I know, be a mom. I know, that's
Lame.
great. I did. I thought like it sounded really boring. I thought like I had to stop doing all the fun parts of life and then just be a mom. And I don't know if I've talked about it on here, but when I was 17, I started having this joke with my friends that my belly poked out a lot, my lower belly.
Mm-hmm.
And we started joking that one night we had like had some weird experience. I don't even remember what it was. It wasn't that significant.
I want to know what that weird experience was.
It was something where we thought like maybe we had encountered aliens.
Seems like you do remember what that experience was.
I can't remember what it was, but whatever it was, my belly started to poke out after that. And the joke was that I had an alien baby inside of me, that somehow I had lost consciousness during this alien encounter, and now I was impregnated with an alien baby.
That's really weird.
No, really, it was like a joke, a running joke. And I'd be like, oh, my alien baby. But I really thought it was like a food baby. But then like
you had too many like donuts, baby?
Yeah, or something. I'm like, I don't know, because you're 17. You don't really know what your body should be like. But then like one morning at like 7 a.m, I was asleep. It was a Saturday morning, and I was laying there, and I woke up and realized that it felt like I was laying on top of a rock.
Oh, because you're on your stomach.
I was laying on my stomach in bed, and it felt like I was laying on top of a rock. And so I was like, I just had this very distinct, you need to tell your mom, this is not normal. Right? And I'm like, okay. So I went down, I'm like, Mom, feel this. And she felt, and it was super hard. And now I know, well, I don't want to like, I'm not going to ruin the story.
Okay.
You know, I want to keep the suspense going.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
So and then she was alarmed. And so then I was more alarmed. So I got dressed, she got dressed, and we went over to the like urgent care. And the doctor there was attentive and alert and said, are you pregnant?
Oh, right.
And I'm like,
that's the next question.
No. And he said, are you sure? And I said, yes.
Impossible.
Yes, this is not possible. I think about boys a lot. But I've never done anything close to making a baby. So the doctor was like, I know your mom's here. He like alluded to the fact that my mom was there, but like, are you pregnant? And my mom was like, Megan? I'm like, Mom, oh my gosh, no, I haven't even like kissed anybody. No, I'm not pregnant. And she's like, oh, well, did somehow like you get attacked and you're blocking it out and you don't remember? I'm like, I don't know if I don't remember, maybe.
Why didn't you bring up the alien situation at that point?
I didn't bring up the alien situation. But so then they gave me a pregnancy test, and then they realized I was not pregnant and laid off about that whole situation. But it turned out I had a grapefruit-sized tumor in my uterus, in the wall of my uterus. And
I love grapefruit.
I don't like grapefruit, by the way. Maybe it's related. But
To your tumor?
Yeah.
Being grapefruit size?
Yeah. And so there's a whole great Jim Gaffigan bit about why tumors are always related to food. But
To fruit.
yeah. But anyway, so it was really big. It was like almost 7 inches across, like big. And so everybody was like, it is an alien. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
All my friends. And I got a photo of it and they all wanted to see the photo of the alien baby and stuff. They took a photo of the tumor when they took it out. But
Okay. So not like that day you found out, but
no.
later after they
Yeah,
took
they
it out.
scheduled the surgery and I went in, and talked to the specialist that was going to be taking this tumor out. This story, I didn't even expect to be telling this today,
This is a
by the
long
way.
story so far.
All suffice it to say.
Is it suffice it or sufficeth to say?
I don't know, but
Someone should look that
to
up.
say, the doctor told me that it was highly likely that he would have to take out my whole uterus.
Oh, because this is prior to the procedure. Okay.
Yeah,
They
and
didn't
all
know.
this time, this was when I was at a heightened feeling that being a mom was like super boring town.
Right.
And I was like, yeah. But then in that moment, it's like, oh, so like I would never make any babies. I
Right.
would no longer have a uterus. And I felt acutely, okay, actually, no, I do want to have kids.
Okay.
I actually am kind of into that, even though I said I wasn't. All that to say
Yes. What's the point of the story?
that it wasn't an alien.
Okay.
And
Okay.
he didn't
there
have
we
to
go.
take
We're done
out-
with the story then. We know.
He didn't have to take out my uterus. Spoiler alert, I had kids.
Oh, right. You're right. Yeah, that's true.
But I remember feeling that way. And if I hadn't had that experience, I don't know that feeling would have subsided for a few years,
Okay.
you know? And so,
That kind of fast forwarded that for you.
yeah, I did. But there were 2 or 3 girls on my walk today, because I probably walked by 20 people,
Mm-hmm.
and who like, really like, because I say good morning to everybody.
Yep.
Who wouldn't even look at me. Like when I said good morning, they just like stared straight ahead.
Maybe they had headphones in or something.
Maybe. I said it really loud. No, I'm just kidding. I like
In their
stopped
face.
them. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
No, it could be, right? But this is my totally terrible research. But it made me think. And it's not the only time I've worn the shirt and the only time that I've kind of gotten a strange reaction from particularly young girls.
Okay.
But so then it makes me think about it and how people, it's like, no, the future is family.
Right.
Like, it's actually not possible to have a future without families. There's
Sure, yeah.
never been
That's
a
where
human.
Humans come from.
There's never been a human without one. Even
Mom
if
and
they
their
didn't,
dad, yeah.
if you didn't know who they were, you still had to have one.
Right. Yeah.
And so, like, the future is female. I get what that's saying, and it's fun to feel more empowered as women, and it's important, especially in certain cultures where that has not been a thing.
Right.
But that actually, that you could say the near future is female,
Okay.
but there is no future without male and female.
Right.
Like, you can't just say, like, the future is female alone. It's like, no, because then
There would be no future.
they can't make babies by themselves, you know?
Sure.
And I in fact, just like 5 to 10 years ago, probably more like 8 years ago now, I was all on that bandwagon and just like, wow, women. And I had watched like Half the Sky, which just makes you hate men.
Yeah,
it really
it's-
does.
Yeah, it's pretty negative.
It's just around the world, men are ruining everything. And
Yeah.
if you just let women be in charge, everything gets better. And so I was on that bandwagon. And then I had a few things that gave me pause. Like, because I actually said to someone, like, wow, like the future is female. I actually said that to a man, not thinking about how that might make him feel. And he said, and male,
right.
you know? And because I was like, it's our turn now. And he was like, now it's everyone's turn. Like,
Right.
we can talk about how maybe there was a out of balance, maybe in certain places and at certain times, but you don't correct that by then kicking other people out. You know, it's like we all rise together. But
Sure.
anyways, I've just thought a lot about that and about how tricky it is that we've convinced a generation of people that a family is something that gets in the way of life.
Right.
And instead of the whole point of life.
The family is, the purpose
Yeah.
or
And-
a huge part of it. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, why is it? It's so crazy when you think about it. Somebody pointed this out in something I was listening to a few years ago. Like, why is it so empowering to tell a woman that she can go and work for a boss in an office rather than just be a mom to her own children in her own home? And like, why is working at an office, like doing spreadsheets, so much more fulfilling than that?
Yeah. I've worked in an office before. It doesn't. I wouldn't call it empowering.
Yeah.
It's demeaning a lot of the times because your boss is telling you what to do, and if you don't do it right, they're upset with you or anything. You know, it's like you're constantly sort of kowtowing to what they want.
Yeah, and then like trying to like compete against
empowering.
the other employees for the next raise or whatever. And
so
like,
it may be a necessary thing to do to earn income, but I wouldn't call it necessarily empowering either. So I don't know. Yeah, it is kind of funny that we've done that.
Yeah, and it's like, why have we downgraded the importance of home?
Right.
And to me, it makes sense for an employer to do that.
Sure.
It makes sense for people who want you to be their employees and in the workforce so that they get money.
Right.
Like, I need able-bodied men, and I'll take women too.
Right.
So let's downgrade the importance of the family.
Sure.
But it's like, on your deathbed, I really don't think you'll give like a rat's bottom.
2 cents. Yep. A rat's bottom.
A rat's bottom about your job. I mean, I think that's going to be really hard for that to matter to you. I think there's like this, and we've talked about this before, but like there's kind of like this amazing life works that way where you can't really usually work until the end of your days. You're not capable of it.
Right. Yeah.
And also you don't feel quite as relevant at the end of your days.
Uh-huh.
And I think it gives you the opportunity to think about what really mattered in your life.
Uh-huh.
And then try to tell the younger generations.
Yeah.
Like wear sunscreen. Just kidding.
That is important.
Wear sunscreen.
For your skin.
Quit believing the lie that you're only good looking when if your skin is a different color.
Sure.
Lighter or darker. Just a little caveat there. I started wearing sunscreen when I realized that the exact same companies that sell spray tans to us pasty girls are selling bleaching kits to browner girls. The exact same company who are just trying to convince all of us that to buy something from them and that our skin color is not right.
Yeah.
So anyways, just a little side note. No, but I think it's in the interest of corporations and of governments to downgrade the family, in the short term.
Right.
Because
I think long term it actually hurts.
Yeah, because when you go to work, you pay more taxes, and the GDP of the country goes up.
And the company makes money.
Yeah, the company
and all those
makes
things.
money.
But the problem is you have a kind of the family. If it disintegrates or falls apart, that has rippling effects as far as the community and the world as a whole.
Yeah. And another thing that I heard once was about in the 1960s, they brought in like this like group brought in these, I think it was a feminist group, these housewives. And at the beginning of their like evaluation, they reported being very happy.
Right. Okay.
And then they taught them about like essentially how bad it is to be a woman. And like, did you ever think about this and that and how disempowered you are and, all of these things. And then they became very sad and they felt
Did they
less
recover?
fulfillment in their life because somebody reframed things for them.
Right.
And I guess that made me think about things. And like, was it that they just weren't aware and they were just going along with this lie that was using their free labor as a mother in the home? Mm-hmm. Or was it that now somebody's convincing them that the only thing that matters in life is money and power?
Right.
And you don't have a lot of that.
So you can't be happy.
So how's that fair?
Right.
And it's like, well, I didn't know that my life was about how much money and power I had and status.
Right.
That like I should be chasing status. Like think about it. Like men have more status.
Is it status or status?
Status.
I mean, probably depends on where you're from.
Yeah. Then women.
I say status, but
it's like, is that what we're really trying to tell people? Is that you can't be happy if you're not rich, or if other people don't recognize your value, you can't be happy.
Right.
So.
And that's a whole. I mean, you could talk a lot about that, but yeah, the structure of our society and sort of how, for whatever reason, happiness and kind of contentment has been placed on having money and power, as if those two go together. And so the only way to achieve that is to chase after those things.
Yeah.
But it
I
doesn't really work because we're actually more unhappy and more we have less peace than we've ever had as far as our
women are less
culture
happy than they've ever been.
Yeah.
In fact,
So-
another thing I saw probably about that same time was like the cover of a magazine. I think it was Time magazine, and they were comparing. It was like about modern women.
Uh-huh.
And they were comparing it to an old time magazine where like the woman was like baking in her kitchen with like a little apron on and kids around her. And then the modern woman is like at a computer screen with a glass of wine and her cat.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying that like there's only one way to be happy.
Right.
But I remember seeing that and like, yeah, what are we doing? Why is that better to be alone with your cat and your wine? And so I used to identify myself as a feminist. I used to say I was a feminist. In fact, one of our first conversations was about my angsty feelings about men and women.
You mean like when we were
Teenagers.
like had first met?
Yes.
Right. We're both 18.
Yes. Do you remember?
I think I do remember that.
Yeah. And I was talking to you about like the relationship between men and women and equality. And somehow you were not overwhelmed by that.
No, I mean, I was, that's the thing though. I think there's balance, right? I don't believe that people should be put down regardless of their gender, you know, that everyone should feel equal or have a place. So that didn't really throw me off because I thought, well, yeah, women should, you know, there's no reason they're less than in any way.
Well, yeah. And I, one of the things that attracted me to you is, I don't know where it came from, but when we were teenagers, a lot of teenage boys, at least my friend group or whatever, thought it was really funny. No, it wasn't just my friend group, because the boys in my friend group did it. And then I went to college and I went on a date and those boys made the same joke. And it was something like, get in the kitchen, woman.
Right.
And I like
Did
laser
that bother
eyed.
you or something?
Yeah, I was so like, what did you just say? And you did not make ever jokes about that. It wasn't hard, you know, or boys would say stuff like girls can't be funny.
Right.
You know, or like girls aren't as smart as guys. Say stuff like that. And I had 4 brothers and I had this so much anger about that. Like,
Right.
oh, I can be anything, you know, you can be, and I'm, you know, that sort of thing. And I also sometimes would get like, well, I would talk a lot and people would be like, wow, you're opinionated for a girl, you know, stuff like that. And then I would feel unfeminine or something for being opinionated. And it just kind of naturally.
Some of those stereotypes.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously we're not all for.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it naturally pushed me towards feminism.
Right.
And so I read, you know, like The Good Earth by Pearl Buck, and I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou, and things like that.
Maya Angelou, I think.
Okay, thanks. In
Just
high school.
Help you out there.
And like, you know, I remember crying to my older brother about like the plight of women. He's just like, I don't know what we're doing. He's a teenage boy.
You didn't get it?
Yeah. And so that was a big part of that. Like that was going through my mind a lot. And so about 5 or 6 years ago, some of these ideas that I had just taken for granted, that had pretty much for the entire history of the world, it sucked for women.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of like a given.
That's the message that's definitely come through.
These sort of things, and really actually there started to be some cracks in it. Just barely started. But it was really it was probably about 3 years ago when I really started to turn that around. And I think part of that is having 6 sons. Okay. If I'm saying to my sons the future is female, they're like,
yeah, where am I? Where
so
do I fit in that?
What do I do?
Right.
I just keep my mouth shut, I guess.
Right.
You know, and so I think that was part of it. But I guess I've had this like crazy shift on why I no longer consider myself to be a feminist. Feminism means lots of things. And if you really start to look into the history of it, there are waves of feminist. And you have like first wave and second wave, third and fourth wave feminism. I don't know if we're on to fifth yet. I don't know. But
I get the feeling we are.
But
I don't know what that means.
I do think that matters because organizations, writers, thinkers, public leaders will use kind of like, obviously women should be treated as equals.
Right.
I mean, like, are there very many people arguing against that? I mean, I think maybe, but there's also murderers out there too, you know, who think they should be able to murder people. The rest of us know that's not cool, right? I will not treat
a murderer equally.
And so they'll use things like women should be treated equally, and they'll use kind of maybe some horrific stories from around the world where they aren't. I just kicked Mike in the shin.
You just kicked me. We're too close.
But I think it's also important to understand what else they're packaging up with when they say that, and they want you to agree with them or become an ally with them.
Well, because some of the things that go along with that then are don't want to be in the home. You definitely don't want to be in the home. You want to have a career. Limit your children, how many you have, if you have
or
any.
Or children are getting in the way.
Or the
motherhood.
children are getting in the way of what you're trying to accomplish. So when you start lumping all that in, that's where it feels like the pendulum has swung a little too far.
And I think it's important to know that, because you might want to give support to certain leaders or thinkers or books, not knowing what else is coming along with that, or what else they want to require of you.
Yeah.
And you're like, now what do you mean by that? Like, of course I believe that, but what does that mean to you when you say that? And now it's gotten to crazy levels where I feel that not just a pendulum has swung, but we've done like this weird like 180 where we don't even want to define what a woman is anymore. The progressive feminist movement has gone so far that there's no such thing as a woman anymore.
Right.
And that's spooky to me. They don't do that to men. They aren't trying to write bills where they're taking the word father out just with mother, by making them like chest feeders or bleeders or whatever. But
strange.
That's kind of a downer, I know. But
we should be more positive.
Yeah, well,
how can we be more
all that
positive?
To say is, I think that the positive message to take about that is to remember that that if you really want to celebrate women, you don't try to turn them into men.
Okay.
That you don't just celebrate male power, or you also don't attack male power.
Okay.
You recognize like how awesome it is that men can do what they do, and how vital it is that women do what they do. And also, I mean, like the craziest part too is that like, and there's all sorts of men and women, and there's a lot of crossover in men and women.
Sure.
But there's also still there's some just defining traits that you're going to find along the way. I work at church. I have a volunteer position working in the nursery, which is the 18-month-year-olds to the 3-year-olds. And
best place to be.
I love it in there. I love it in there. And it's so fascinating. It never gets old to watch the difference between 2-year-old boys and 2-year-old girls, because there is a very distinct difference. And I'm not saying that the girls don't ever want to play with the cars and the boys don't ever want to play in the kitchen, but they play differently with the cars and in the kitchen.
Right.
And they interact differently. Those girls can run circles around those boys, because they're so much more verbal than the boys are at that age. And the boys are more physical and they're funny. I love it. But the happy part is, and I think the way that you overcome these crazy ideas is you celebrate motherhood, and you celebrate fatherhood, and you celebrate families, and you start to recognize that maybe all of the, I don't know, I don't want to go too negative here, but don't even believe, I am very suspicious of movies that want to just tell the story about how terrible it was for women before. In part because as I've gone back and read the journals of my female ancestors, I'm not getting that vibe.
Right.
And in fact,
and these were not wealthy people either. I mean, they were not living they were
aristocracy.
They
or
were
something.
humble,
Very
and
humble.
they were kind of struggling, through life, but also peaceful, and there's a kind of underlying happiness there.
Yeah. And
no angst about what they were doing
or not doing, or what they were able to do or not do. And
I don't think it's just because they don't know.
No, I just don't see in my family tree like the stories that they want to, like the way they want me to frame it. When I go back and look, I don't see that. I see sweet families.
Right.
I see couples trying to build lives together and having goals and dreams and emigrating to the U.S. together and fighting and building and living complete lives that were very sweet and very quiet and nobody knew about them. But I don't see the stories that they want to tell me were going on.
Right.
In lots of ways.
Yeah.
And in fact, I am a direct descendant of Anne Dudley Bradstreet, who lived in the 1600s. And her husband and father were kind of important statesmen. They were part of the founding of Harvard.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
I mean, my great whatever grandparents, they founded Harvard.
Kind of a
no big deal.
Owner of that
I kind of
then.
see that as something that my family. No, I'm just kidding. I don't at all.
Oh.
I didn't even know that until a few years ago. But one of the things that I think is really sweet is she kept journals and wrote letters. And after her death, some of those were released, and she wrote beautiful poetry. And it's celebrating her motherhood and her relationship with God and her very passionate love for her husband. And I don't think, and they were very religious, and we hear all the time that like, it wasn't like that then. They didn't see marriage as the same thing. And they didn't, like these women's lives they just worked all of the time, and they weren't, the way they frame it is there's no way she could have been happy.
Right.
Because she was just at home with having many children, and her husband was the one doing all of the things out in public. But those poems are beautiful, and she's deep, and she's wise and knowledgeable and well-read. And I just don't see it. Like, right. When I watch a movie and there's a story that they're telling, I don't know those people. And so it's like, oh, I guess what you're saying is this is how it was for all women. But when I actually look back in the reality of my own family, I just don't see it.
Right.
And so I'm just not sure anymore that all of those stories that were constantly being told, that it wasn't until the 1960s that women actually had a voice, or now, not even till now, like women's voices must be heard. It's like, I'm just not convinced that they weren't heard. I'm just not, I think maybe what we value has changed.
Okay.
I think that in Anne's time, Anne felt powerful because her family was the most important thing in the world to both her and her husband.
Yeah.
And they had other work that they did, but this was the most important work. And now when we don't think that anymore, and we think your job is the most important work that you'll do, or your time freedom is the most important thing, in your selfish time freedom, like time for yourself, your self-care time, or like me time, and we don't value the family anymore, then I guess when you're going to look back with that lens, then it's always been terrible for women. But I think if you got in a time machine and went back, you'd find a lot of really happy women.
Right.
Well before they were saved by the feminist movement. And so...
So maybe they didn't need to be saved, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so it's been kind of a radical shift for me to go, wait a second, if I love my kids, and this is what's most important to me, why do I keep being told that like if that's all women did for the entire history of the world, they must have been sad. Right.
And also that somehow that's not actually that important to raise children.
And that, really, the fourth wave feminism is like angry at motherhood. It thinks that they don't even want to have Mother's Day. They don't think anybody should even celebrate that because they feel like it holds women back.
Right.
So that's kind of heavy, but it has made me let go of the last vestiges of those feelings so that I can more fully celebrate motherhood and families in my own life.
Right. So it's actually...
like unabashedly.
It's made you more at peace with that and actually... like celebrate that, and like really see the value in it. Yeah,
think about it. If you had a friend that you really liked their company, everything that you knew about them was great.
Like the company they worked for?
Oh my gosh, Mike.
Oh, like you like being with them.
Yes, you really liked being with them.
Sorry, I'm on this like career mode.
Oh, sorry.
Gotcha.
You really liked being with them. Like every time you're with them, it was great. And they just seemed like a really great person. But everybody told you, but yeah, what you don't know about them is that they're actually like really terrible in these ways. And so you just kind of hold that in there like, oh, they did this terrible thing, or they're kind of terrible, the parts of them you don't see. And so you would have kind of this like struggle, like, I don't know, I really like them. I've only seen the kindest, best things about that.
Right.
And if finally you were to learn like that wasn't true, that was made up, you can finally just go like, I knew it, and just feel nothing but good feelings and such love, endearment for your friend, you know? And listen, don't get too hung up on this story. You might be like, well, you should have felt that anyways and not trusted those people. Yeah, you should have, right? As a mom, instead of being told, or as a woman, that for the entire history of the world, it was terrible for women because they have these few random stories. Well, I can go find some crazy stories right now about crazy husbands or crazy wives. Right. There's always mothers. The baddies on the fringes of society.
Right.
But I am now convinced that as a whole, people set up cultures and societies where a lot of people were very happy.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, I know there's a lot of complexity to that. But I also think people in the past would be like, how dare you think that only you are now elevated and wise enough to be happy? Right. Like you value different things. You see things very differently, and you're using your lens on our life and we don't agree with you.
Right.
And so, I don't know.
Well, and also, are you actually happy? You know?
Yeah, I know.
Are you actually happy?
I mean, we're less
content?
happy than we've ever been in like the history of the world. I'm convinced of it.
And we keep on plunging deeper and deeper into these ideas as if we're not doing it hard enough. That's the only reason why we're not happy. And we're just getting more and more addicted to antidepressants and all these things. So it seems like the proof is there that some of these ideas aren't
maybe
actually
we need to slow down.
Playing out.
Like, okay, we've done this for a while. In fact, Andrew always tells me about C.S. Lewis. In C.S. Lewis's day, everybody said, oh, the reason why we're weird about sex and obsessed with sex is because we don't talk about it enough.
Right. Because
like the Victorians, I remember learning this in very, very young school age, that the Victorians had a strange weirdness with sex. And because they never talked about it and they made it very private, they became even more obsessed with it.
Right.
And so like this was around in C.S. Lewis's days in the 1950s or whatever. And he said, are you kidding me? Like,
I think it was pre-1950s that C.S. Lewis was like, talking about these things.
Maybe. But he's like, are you kidding me? I think we've kind of proven that we've talked about sex plenty and we're still obsessed with it. And Andrew was like, oh, welcome to now.
Right. Yeah.
70 years later, 80 years later, sex is everywhere and we're more obsessed with it than ever.
Right. We can't leave it alone.
And so it's like, when do we go, you know what? We're still basing this, like, we need to normalize it, and then we'll relax. Then all of these bad things will go away. It's like, we have normalized this out the wazoo and it's still not working. So maybe we should go, maybe let's go back and see if that, was actually true.
Yeah. Well, so
I guess, okay, all that being said, that's very negative.
Back to, yeah.
I just feel like I can finally and freely love motherhood and hand myself over to it. And also it's changed my view of what brings joy.
Right.
When it used to be empowerment or self-power. Let's say that, right? Because empowerment is positive and it's like you're taking somebody that didn't have power and then you're helping them find more strength. That's a good thing, right? But it seems to have gone too far, right? Where now it's about self-power. It's about me time and it's about what I want. I need you to affirm me to be happy.
Right.
And if everybody around me isn't affirming what I want to be, if they're not supporting that, then they don't love me and they're toxic.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think that works. I think it's actually the opposite way. If you can get yourself to a place where you don't think about yourself so much and you find the joy in the simplicity and sharing and giving of yourself, and you find the joy in a quiet life, and when you can get to a place where nobody needs to affirm you because you have an inner affirmation,
right,
an inner strength.
Yep.
So no matter what anybody thinks about you, you know who you are. And then you also just don't worry about it so much. You don't think about it so much who you are. You're not doing so much of, checking in to see
taking that
who am I
temperature.
today. It's like,
And am I happy? All the time.
Yeah. I've watched some of these videos, these TikToks of girls, saying some days I feel this gender and other days I feel this gender. It's like, man, maybe you should just wonder, how can I make the world a better place today? Instead of what gender do I feel today? It's like, man, I don't think that's good for you. I don't think it's good for you just to think about yourself
over that.
So much. Really get out there, plant some things in a garden, go for a walk, and then try be nice to people and try to help bring order to some chaos in the world, and not focus on yourself so much. And so I guess because I've finally said, I don't know if I believe that anymore, I've been able to find more joy in motherhood instead of always being tinged with what a thankless job.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, nobody even notices. And it's time for mommy to get out of here. And I mean, we're going on a date tonight and it's really nice to have that, but I don't see motherhood because all my life I was told that motherhood was going to be a huge sacrifice and it would be almost holding me back. That's a lot of the narrative you hear, and oh man, it's all over the place on the internet now.
Yeah, it's on t-shirts.
Yeah. So it makes it always like it's like always tinged with this negativity. And when you can finally be like, you know what, I'm not into it. I think this is actually,
maybe I could just enjoy this.
I can find it like a total fulfillment and joy. This is the way. Yeah. Then it changed a lot, and has made me so much happier, and everybody else can relax too, because they know I'm not like, you're welcome. You know, I don't think I ever said it that
only
hard
on some
or anything.
days when it was really hard to make dinner.
I know, but like, I think when you're constantly told nobody appreciates moms, and like, you never get any time to yourself, and like, oh my gosh, then you're always like this. It's never enough. You need your kids to affirm you.
Right.
You need your husband to affirm you. And just recently, like, there was this hoopla about like some mom who writes like comics that essentially just trash her husband because she's so much better than him. It's like, good luck with that. I don't think that's the path to happiness. Even if that's true, I think you're I just don't think that's going to serve you very well to just keep score and how you're winning. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think that's the way.
That's kind of marriage 101 is you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Keeping score is never a good idea.
Yeah. And so I guess I'm here to report that it's made me so much happier. It's made me so much happier to stop obsessing about equality.
Right.
Which is an insane thing to say. It's definitely very counterculture. I feel scared saying it out loud. But stop worrying so much about whether I'm being treated fairly, and more about like how I can quiet the selfish parts of me and find joy in giving of myself.
Right.
So,
well, there's a lot more contentment there.
Yeah, which sounds crazy, because everybody's like, oh my gosh, then everybody's just going to use you like a doormat. It's like, I don't know.
That doesn't happen.
I don't know if that's true.
There may be, if there are people that are in your life that are like that, then maybe those shouldn't be your friends or whatever. But what I see, the way I see our family react to what you do for them is our kids are grateful and they thank you for it.
Okay, let's say you are being treated like a doormat. What if you said, I'm so grateful that I can help you when you need to wipe your feet on something? What I'm saying is,
doormat.
How can you frame that? I mean, like a Tibetan monk who has made himself very small and finds joy in that.
Like literally they made themselves small?
No, you know what I mean.
What do you mean?
They spend their time letting go of their ego. And so I don't know if you can be in a mode where you say they walked all over me. But if you change your mindset, you might see it differently. You might see that they found a lot of joy in the gifts that you gave them.
Right.
And then you get joy from it.
Yeah.
So I know that's been true for me, at least.
Yeah. I think a big part of that, the issue with that is this common sentiment that it's hard to be a mom, that it's hard to have a family, that kids are hard, that kids are annoying, that kids are just a drag. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about this the other day, and it's partially it's true. It isn't easy to have a family. It's not easy to be a parent.
But it's not easy to do anything worthwhile.
Let
me steal your thunder?
Thought,
sorry,
Megan. But it's true. Nothing worth doing is easy. And so why have we chosen to place this burden on families as if, well, that hard thing is wrong? And this hard thing over here, having things hard at the office is good, hard at home, bad.
Yeah, like law school is super hard, but you did it. Or
that's
like, working for this job, it requires a lot of you, but like, wow, you did it. Or like an Olympic athlete, they work so hard. Wow, isn't that amazing? Motherhood is so hard. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's the worst.
That's the worst.
Right? And I think it's because you don't get any money for it, and you don't get any recognition on a bigger stage or whatever, however you want to see that. But in the end,
who the hell cares about money and recognition?
Oh, now we have to put an explicit on this podcast. No, we don't. But really, in the end, who cares about that? And I think we would all agree that in the end, money and things and power don't matter. And so why are we fighting so hard and pushing these things on people, making them think that that's what's important? Mm-hmm. And I guess there's probably a million reasons, but let's just say that. Let's agree that those don't matter. So why not do the thing that does? And it's having a family. It's being a mom. It's being a dad. And it's letting mom and dads do their thing.
Yeah, and even if you aren't going to have a family, right? Like, because I know that it doesn't work out that way for everybody. It really doesn't. But families, the reason why there's so much joy in family, there's a lot of reasons. But one is because they require you to let go of self if you're going to do it well.
Right.
Kids, if you're going to do this thing well, you have to let go of yourself and your ego. And you have to do things that feel a little demoralizing, like, wipe poop off of somebody or yourself, right? Clean up vomit. Like
you were wiping someone else's poop off yourself or
yes,
your own?
Yes.
Okay, because everybody has to do
everybody has to do the other one.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, it things that aren't cool feeling, that don't make you feel important, but actually those are like really refining. And so parenting and marriage can do that. But I think that you can choose to live a life outside of family if that's not the path that you're on, that where you require things of yourself, where you try to bring yourself down and try to have refining experiences that aren't just about you.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there's lots of ways to do that. I think Mother Teresa lived a life of where she was not focusing on herself, but on others. So, I mean, if you're not going to be a mom, you just go be Mother Teresa. It's fine.
It's either mom or Mother Teresa.
No, but I'm just saying it's possible. I don't want anybody to feel like, well, because I never, got married or had kids, I guess I'm a horrible human.
Sure, it doesn't
I'm
happen
just
for
saying
everyone.
it is an incredibly refining experience. And you can do those same sort of activities outside of marriage and family. And we will have to continue to do them even after our kids leave home, to keep trying to refocus on looking outside rather than so much of self-obsession and absorption.
Right. Well, and seeing it that way, like recognizing this is good for me. It's hard and it's good. Just like it's hard to climb a mountain, right?
Yeah.
But it's good because you accomplished something, you've grown, you've probably gotten stronger. And so appreciate it in that way instead of thinking this is just bad.
Yeah,
all
this
the way
is
around.
the worst.
Because that's what the popular culture wants to, that's what they're preaching.
Well, and that's what your inner toddler preaches. I don't know if we've talked about that before. That's like the phrase I use for the part of me that just wants to like sleep all day and eat bonbons, That's my inner toddler, but I can't listen to my inner toddler. I got to be a grown up and I'll be happier
Sometimes
for it and I'll be stronger for it. Yeah. But like, we talk about this when we travel, that like travel is so hard. Like waiting in line is so hard.
For
lines
Megan, it's hard. It's less hard for me.
But lines that don't make sense. People are rude. They cut in line. And when you're doing it with kids,
it
is so hard.
Then it gets really...
And then you hear about like celebrities who are able to like not do any of that. And you think like, oh, wouldn't that be amazing? No, but we've talked about how much more patient we've noticed we've become.
Yeah.
Because we've had to do experiences where you have to push your patience and not freak out.
Yeah.
Like in travel, and how
celebrities... You want to talk about going to like a Zen place, like and being a monkish about it. Yeah, you have to do it.
Standing in security with your kids. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Or breathe. On an airplane, on a long flight with kids. It's like, oh my gosh, you want to scream inside and you gotta take a deep breath. And if you do that well, you get to reap the benefits and then be more patient afterwards, which is pretty rad. Yep. And then you realize there are people who have the money to be able to skip those experiences, but really they have their reward. And that was that they didn't have to do those things. Uh-huh. But the reward we got by not having the money to skip them or choosing not to skip them is an inner reward that we keep for the rest of our lives.
Right.
That we're more calm inside. We're not as easily ruffled. You and I definitely don't get as easily stressed as we did a decade ago.
No, it's true.
We can handle a lot more than we used to be able to. Mm-hmm. And that's a gift. And that's a more important gift than ease. Right. And so I have a book that I'm reading called M is for Motherhood. And I think I don't remember how she says it, but it's the subtitle, something about like the fight against mediocre motherhood.
Yeah,
or something.
I think so. Yeah.
And how like now we celebrate mediocre motherhood. Like, we're like, I'm the worst, didn't get dressed today, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And how unhelpful that is. And how if you will learn to quiet your inner toddler and let motherhood refine you and become a better mother or a better father or a better human, there's a lot of joy that comes from that, and everybody benefits from it. And instead, maybe we should push back a little against the like, don't even try, or like
wine 30.
Yeah, wine 30, or a million other little like
tropes. Kids
are the worst, which is a funny Instagram account, but like, is that really the best message? Because kids are actually the best,
Yeah.
And like hashtag mom life. I just don't know that that's incredibly helpful for society, but I know it's not helpful for individuals either. That like, let patience have her perfect work. Like, let yourself be refined and become better, and let the pressure turn you into something better instead of just complaining about the pressure or trying to escape the pressure. And there's a time to take a break, but maybe there's also a time to face hard,
right,
and become stronger so that it's not so hard anymore.
Yeah.
So
what is that book again? M is for Motherhood?
M is for Motherhood.
We'll put that in our little like description.
Yeah, it's very
it's a good
Christian based. There's a lot of scriptures and it's really beautiful. I really appreciate it and the reframing of it, because it is a constant message. I mean, you want to talk about t-shirts with messages on them. There's a constant message celebrating mediocre motherhood, and almost like don't try to be like,
yeah, don't get above your station, as it were. Like, try to be something more.
Like pulling each other down. Like this is the way to be. Okay, don't pressure. Don't put that pressure on me to be anything more than this. You know. And so I don't know. I don't want this podcast to be a downer. I want it to be like maybe the hard thing is the good thing, and maybe that's the joy is right behind that.
Yeah.
When people aren't happy now, they think they need to remove more obstacles from their life or de-stress. But actually, we've found that accepting the stress, carrying the weight of it, makes you stronger the next time around, which then makes you happier.
Right.
You know, and Jordan Peterson talks a lot about this, that joy comes from achievement, and achievement comes from hard work. And we have that backwards a lot of the time. We're always talking about like taking breaks and minimizing things and getting toxic people out of your life, just like taking all obstacles out and making sure that your life affirms you.
Right. And we try to do that for our children. We've talked about that before. Snowplow parenting.
Yeah. But as an individual, I don't think that's good for you either. I think sometimes if you will submit yourself to the hard and let it change you, you'll actually be happier. And then also the next step is to do it with pleasure. Like, sorry, that's from the artist.
Yes, the last line.
Do it happily, and then it changes you even more, and it makes the other person feel like they're really involved in something happy and nice when you are happy to serve them. So, anyways,
that's great.
That's why I no longer consider myself a feminist. I consider myself a woman and a mother.
And that's why you made that neat T-shirt. Future's family.
Yeah.
And it's true.
The future is family. There is no future without a family.
So I think that's a hopeful thing. And it should bring happiness to those who are in families, and I guess hope for those that aren't. Maybe they will be. But I know it's been...
Well, everybody's in a family.
That's true.
Everyone.
We all come from a family.
You're not here without one. It's kind of crazy. Like, really, not one person on the earth ever didn't have a family.
All right. Well, leave it there then.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for sitting with us for a little bit. And check out, again, listen to the podcast or watch it. You can go to our YouTube, which is No Place Like Home, or check out the podcast on all the podcast places, No Place Like Home podcast. And anything else? That's it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming along. We'll see or talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.